That's right!
Welcome to The Know, I'm Ashley Jenkins.
And I'm Gus Sorola.
Breaking news, everybody! Apparently suing your own customers turns out to be not very good business. Who knew?
I think we did. Well, Digital Homicide surely does. After months of legal turmoil that involved suing YouTube critics, Steam users, Valve, and probably even themselves eventually, it seems the saga of Digital Homicide has finally come to its inevitable conclusion.
The developer of beloved Steam classics such as Slaughtering Grounds, Wyatt Earp, Sarah to the Rescue, and a bunch of other games that are apparently just reskins of their old games, is shockingly out of money. They're now shutting down not only some of their frivolous lawsuits, but also shuttering their doors for business. Digital Homicide, sadly, is no more. Is this where we get to make the jokes about digital suicide?
Try to hold back your tears, everyone. The dearly departed developer made this news public via a conversation with Tech Raptor after the website reported that Digital Homicide was dropping its controversial case against 100 separate Steam gamers.
I mean, like John Doe 10, John Doe 11. In that lawsuit, the founders of Digital Homicide, the Romine brothers, were seeking more than $18 million in damages against PC gamers, citing harassment, negative comments, and false statements about their company. News broke out about that case last month after the company tried to subpoena Valve for the private information of the users named in the lawsuit by their Steam IDs mostly, except when they stopped even trying that much. But now it seems that case has been dismissed.
Suing 100 anonymous people from the internet didn't hold up?
Weird.
Wow, imagine that.
Yeah.
According to documents posted over at Digital Homicide's Steam group, the Romines have filed for a dismissal with an Arizona court. The official dismissal requests a refund of their court fees so far, plus either an extension of time or a motion to dismiss without prejudice.
Asking for dismissal without prejudice is really just legalese, which would allow Digital Homicide to have the case reopened at a later time rather than closing the books on it completely. You gotta leave that door open just in case they decide to go batshit crazy on Steam users again one day, maybe when they have money again.
You never know. The reason for dismissal, according to the documents filed by Digital Homicide, well, in their own words, it's because, quote, the plaintiff's business was destroyed, completely financially disabling the plaintiff, destroying usability of all current work effort, and untold other damages.
Yeah, the good always goes so young. The backlash the Romines are referring to here no doubt comes from the response the developer got after they first went after Steam users. In addition to the substantial outcry they received from the internet in general, the move also prompted a swift response from Valve, who pulled all of Digital Homicide's games from Steam within days of receiving the subpoena.
Valve confirmed that they gave Digital Homicide the boot in an official statement sent by VP of Marketing Doug Lombardi, which reads, Valve has stopped doing business with Digital Homicide for being hostile to Steam customers.
So rather than learning their lesson, Digital Homicide fired back a few days later that they were going to pursue legal action against who? Valve. The announcement came on their website where the Romines wrote that the only thing that prevented me seeking legal counsel for a long list of breach of contracts, interference with business, and antitrust issues was the fear of losing my family's income. Since that has been taken away, I'm seeking legal representation.
I like your voice.
Thank you. I thought I'd be appropriately dramatic about it.
Apparently, all those appeals for both legal funding and legal representation fell on deaf ears, if the newest motion is any indication. It seems that all of this turmoil has left the developer with very few options. It's not like suing somebody, or everybody in this case, is inexpensive.
But of course, Digital Homicide couldn't let this incident pass without some kind of haunting words from beyond the grave. After Tech Raptor ran their report about the company shutting down their court case, Digital Homicide reached out with a characteristically rambling, sometimes ranting, and generally scattered response in it. They touched on all kinds of things regarding their downfall, including harassment, Steam Greenlight, and Valve itself.
You know, Valve always destroying people's
Yeah,
jobs.
Valve's just the worst, right? I mean, they're always keeping the man down.
This is going to be good. As for why they decided to stop pursuing their lawsuit against anonymous internet users, Digital Homicide places the blame at Valve removing their game from Steam, writing, the case dismissal was only due to financial reasons caused by the removal of our games. I believe the case was very solid. There were in excess of 140 false statements by the 11 Steam users, tens of thousands of posts harassing myself and my customers, 3 direct interference with written contracts with third parties by Steam users, in parentheses, some of which were competitors, and much more.
Not sure what the last one means exactly, but judging from some of their other comments, Digital Homicide is convinced that somebody else, perhaps even another developer on Steam, was incentivizing Steam users to harass them over time. Either way, pretty crazy they still feel their case was solid. It was just dozens of pages of internet comments, bro. That's not a case.
It could be. Digital Homicide also talked about the future of their company in the response to Tech Raptor, namely that there isn't any at all. They said, as far as Digital Homicide, it's destroyed. It's been stomped into the ground from 1,000 directions and use is discontinued. I don't know what that means. I'm going back into the workforce and watching what's really going on. Not gaming media gossip. The real stories are in the legal documents, not talking about mine.
Despite being dead in the water, Digital Homicide continued to argue its position, saying that even though a lot of people were upset with them, they did have some support over the last year. They received as many as 50 positive emails. 50, guys. Wow.
It's like one a week.
Yeah. Almost.
Yeah.
Not quite, but almost.
Almost. They also blamed the gaming media for their demise as well, stating, we may have been painted in a negative customer light by gaming media. Truthfully, we've been fighting for lower prices and a more open market, which to me is the most important thing for consumers.
They truly were the heroes we deserved.
The second most important thing for consumers is suing them.
Right. It's hard not to treat some of these comments with a little bit of cynicism considering the source. In addition to all the lawsuits we've listed so far, they're probably most famous for their ongoing legal battles with YouTube critic Jim Sterling. They've been fighting him in a legal battle for the better part of this year, asking for $15 million in damages because he made negative comments about their games as a reviewer who reviews games.
How dare a critic criticize?
Right?
What is that?
Shouldn't be allowed. Shouldn't be allowed.
As for the future of that case, they said they've asked for dismissal of it as well. Again, hard to keep suing people when you don't have any money.
In the end, it's, I don't know, a little bit of a shame, I guess, that things went this way. As much as they brought it on themselves by throwing the legal book at gamers, I mean, Steam users over comments, there was a little bit of truth in some of their complaints about the way Valve allows developers to handle harassment on their platform. That being said, they went about addressing those issues in just about the worst way imaginable. We're just hard to make them sympathetic.
Yep. Will this be the last we see of Digital Homicide? It's hard to say. They've been accused of changing their name a couple of times in the past, so it wouldn't be shocking for them to do it all over again. And as soon as they open their mouths or their keyboards, it'll probably be pretty easy to spot them.
And then the cycle starts all over again. But for now, the book is closed on this story.
What do you guys think about Digital Homicide sailing off in the digital ether? Let us know in the comments.
And for future updates on game developer shenanigans, which are about to get a lot more boring without these guys around, like this video and subscribe to the know.
No digital suicide puns.
I said that at the beginning. Right at the, not the very beginning, but I said it.
The beginning. All right.
Yeah. Let's start at the very beginning.